Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Today we're going to be reading this. I thought it would be interesting because I wanted to go ahead and look at it and see what they have to say. I want to see what I have to say to this. I want to see what some therapists have to say to this. I want to give my perspective. So let's go. Insecure about my mid-sized body, ? Long story short, I had a problem when I was 18 to 19, and now I'm 25, and recently have been seeing a problem dietitian and therapist to help me fully recover, and I just hate the way my body looks. I'm mid-sized and I carry my weight in my stomach, and I cannot stop comparing myself to other women my age who have the ideal body type, especially on social media. I feel like I can't wear the clothes I love anymore because they don't suit me because my stomach isn't flat. Before anyone tells me to go to the gym and lose weight, the dietitian has said I have a healthy BMI and that this is my body's healthy weight. I also feel like I'm not attractive anymore and men don't like me because I don't look a certain way. Does anyone else feel the same and have any advice? I'm really struggling and I feel like I'll never stop wanting to look like the other women. So, what I will say with this to start with is that I don't think Reddit is the place for this, because with a lot of these discussions, we need to see what we're talking about. Oftentimes you have to see a picture, or you have to kind of know what's going on. I'm confused, basically. So, and again, we don't know. She does not specify what kind of thing she had going on. So there's a lot to this that we just don't know. So I don't really know what to say about it personally. What I will say is the comparison aspect, this is still toxically ritualistic. So even with me, when I personally am not satisfied with how I look at the moment, I don't compare myself to others, or I try my best to not go there, because people forget that there is a social aspect. It's a psychosocial issue. So there is a social component to the disorders. There is a social part of it. And remember, it's not always just about behaviors. It's also about thought processes, relationships with people. It affects these kinds of things because it is social as well. So it's important. And then remember that it does have to do with our image as well. Okay. So all those things go into it. So I try my best to not do this because it's not at all helpful. It just isn't. I think it's fine to admire somebody else. I think it's fine to do that kind of thing, but I think you should always be striving. The way that I view it as you should always be striving for your own form of beauty or your own form of fitness or that kind of thing. Like, I don't look at other guys and think, oh, I wish I looked like them. I think I wish I was at my full potential, or I wish I was where I could be. That's how I think about it. I think that that's better. It's better to not compare because everybody's different, especially when you get to, you're just overweight or you're not obese or like that kind of stuff. It really shifts. And obviously on the other end of the spectrum too, it just, there's more variability towards a normal weight. And so I don't think it's good to really compare to other people. People are in different lanes. People have different body types, different genetics. Like, all that stuff does exist within a healthy weight range. So I just don't think it's productive. That's what I would say. And I would advise against that. So as far as clothing size and stuff like that, it depends. Clearly, like, I don't know exactly what this woman is going through. But as far as on the opposite side of things, when you're trying to lose weight in recovery, you probably could fit in it again, or you could fit in things. I fit into things that I wore in high school, for example. I did. But it just depends. Like I said, I don't know where this person's coming from. And yeah. Okay. As far as I don't feel attractive to men and stuff like that, I don't know. I mean, a lot of that stuff, it's very subjective. One of you guys actually wrote a really sweet comment, Elizabeth. And it really helped me, made me feel better. But I think that a lot of times people think that people have higher standards than they do. I think that that's something that needs to be acknowledged as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with aspiring to, peak fitness or a really healthy level or whatever, as long as health is involved. But most people have a range of what they're attracted to, even within thinness. I was talking to somebody today, and even within thinness is an umbrella too. There's different types of thin. There's thick, there's average, there's athletic, and there's like cut, shredded, etc. There's a lot of different variations within thinness as well. On my channel, when I talk about being mid-size, I consider mid or mid-size to be in between thin and fat. So still having a proximity towards fatness, which she's saying that she doesn't, which is what's confusing. I don't know. And this is where we're kind of getting some crosshairs where I'm not sure what she's talking about, which is why I need to see a picture. Honestly, because people are not always objective about this type of stuff. So does she even have a mid-sized body? I don't know. So let's go ahead and look at this. Well, I'm not a woman and can't speak to the unique pressures women feel in society via any number of ideal body shapes. However, I'm talking to a lot of women. In talking to a lot of women, many of them share your concern. It does not help that society idolizes certain shapes and sizes over others. Okay, so I will just say I don't think that this is as helpful as people think it is. It's, in a certain way, it is a toxic ritualistic reinforcement. It reinforces the thought processes behind it. It gives a person a reason to do what they're doing or to feel how they feel or whatever. I don't think it's good to do that. What I would say is, again, what is your objective measurement? What are we looking at here? I need to see a picture. I can tell you if you're tripping. Basically, it's like you have to kind of look or you have to see it or whatever. If she's in a healthy BMI, then she's in a healthy BMI. She's probably okay, And then you're talking more about like fitness or something like that. Fitness is different, but fitness can involve gaining muscle too. So it's not always about losing weight, which is some of the things that I would say, because it just depends on what your goals are and all these kinds of things, basically. And you need to be healthy the whole way and not engage in toxic ritualistic behaviors, regardless of what you want to do. But going on a rant about society and this and that, it's a reinforcement, in my opinion. And a lot of people don't like it when I say that. But again, I'm not here to reinforce it. I'm here to actively speak against it. I don't think this is effective. I don't think this helps people. I think it makes it worse. So take that for what it is. I think you're just giving people a reason to do what they're doing. So I would not advise this. I'd keep it more about the person because, again, society is, in certain ways, it's what you make of it. It's what you pay attention to. That's also what I would say too. Are you watching stuff that's toxic? Are you looking at people that are struggling with certain issues? Are you watching Freely the Banana Girl, for example? Are you watching people like that? You probably shouldn't be. Kind of bring it back to an accountability aspect because that's going to be more helpful than saying, well, you're a woman, therefore you fall by the letter D. That's not helpful. It is not helpful. It's not helping women. It's not helpful to anybody. I don't remember who said it, but the quote, comparison is the thief of joy comes to mind. Would it be possible to decide what is the ideal weight and shape of your body independent of what other people or society say? As long as you are medically healthy, why does it matter what someone else thinks? So, this is tricky just because, like I said, I think that there's a balance. There's a balance in this. So, if you're not nuts, I don't know how else to say it, then maybe you are okay to ask the question to yourself. But if you are, and you really have to be honest with yourself, then maybe there should be some external feedback there. It depends. I can tell you like my ideal, so to speak, or what my goal is, or whatever you want to call it. I think it's pretty reasonable. My goal, I'm 6'1". I want my end weight to be somewhere between, like, I'll have to see when I get there, but somewhere between 195 to 185. Muscular and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of where I'm going towards. That's very attainable. It is healthy, especially with muscle. There's no issue about it whatsoever. It's pretty healthy, in my opinion. And it's a reasonable goal. It's nothing crazy. It is ambitious, but it's not bad. And it's certainly not underweight. So I think you have to make sure that your goals are rational or that they make sense. If they don't, then you probably do need to listen to other people at least a little bit. Because if you're out of it, you have to kind of acknowledge that you're out of it. And that's a harsh truth, but it is the truth. I can see why being attractive to men might be a motivator for you to change your weight. However, at the end of the day, we are most accountable to ourselves, and internal motivation is usually more powerful than external motivation to achieve a goal. So this, I do agree. I also think men in general are not attracted to the same things all across the spectrum. So I don't think that it's, especially when you're splitting hairs, is very different from being severely over or under a certain, I have to kind of break it up, mass, I guess. When you're really far from the standard deviation, it is less attractive. It just is. We have to be real about it. I don't think it helps anybody to be like kind of delulu or just not honest about it. However, when you're getting into those normal ranges, like I told you, there's still variation and there's still body variation within a normal range. And there's still, like I said, thick, average, athletic, shredded. Like there's all these different aspects within thin that different guys would be attracted to, basically. You know, it just depends. It depends on the guy. So I don't know if it's that good of a motivation within a healthy range. That's what I would say. So I would try to provide some kind of like nuance to it, because again, there is body variation within thin. There is, and that's okay. Okay, check out the podcast, Go Love Yourself. It's really great for precisely what you're talking about. Their motto is, how you look is the least interesting thing about you, and they come more from a body neutrality perspective than necessarily body positivity, which many people resonate more with. I think this is good, especially for toxic ritualistic recovery. I have done pretty well with that. I've definitely advocated for that a long ways. I think my journey has changed a little bit at this phase where I do care more about appearances, but it's also just like I said, it's more about like a healthy goal. It's about a certain aesthetic goal, and it's about me wanting to see where my body lands at a fit level. I want to see my body's potential, which how that looks, I don't know. It's my body. My body is different from everybody else's body. So I view it more so like I want to bring out the natural beauty of what I was born with. That's how I view it. I think that that can be a lot more helpful than, for example, tripping because maybe you're wide framed and you're comparing yourself to a girl who's, narrow framed. It's not going to be helpful. That's your bone structure and stuff. So you have to keep a real perspective about it. And again, it's okay to, especially within recovery, it's okay to care about aesthetics. You just can't be totally obsessed with it to the point where you're willing to throw your health out the window. That's not okay. That's where, no, we're drawing a line there. But if you want to put on muscle or something, or you want to lean out a little bit more or something, as long as it's within a healthy range and you're not doing anything horrible to accomplish it, then there's no problem with that. Like I said, there's still variation within thinness. Okay. I believe there's specifically a social media episode, and I would definitely listen to that one. It talks about curating your feed and changing what types of people you see, because if you're only following fitness model, photoshopped content, it's going to affect your body standards. So I don't know about this. I think it just depends on what your goals are. I don't know. I think what's more important is kind of separating. Like, I agree with that previous comment. You need to separate a little bit. We're not, if I'm thinner or fatter, it doesn't affect you. That needs to be something that you understand within toxic ritualistic recovery. The comparison is not real. There is no competition. It's not real. It's very Mean Girls. Calling somebody fat doesn't make you any skinnier. It's that type of thing. It doesn't matter. Stay in your lane, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You do need to individuate yourself more. And so it shouldn't matter what types of people you're following, because you're not looking at somebody and thinking, I should be just like that. You're thinking, oh, they're in shape, or oh, look at what they're doing, or oh, I like the way they look, period. It could just be that. It could just be for your own like, wow, like what a, beautiful girly pop. What is she doing? Like, whoa, she's cool, or wow, what a hot guy, or whatever, that kind of thing. It could just be for your own aesthetics or your own aesthetic pleasure, basically, if you're following somebody on social media. It doesn't have to be like something you're using as a weapon against yourself. It just doesn't. So, and it's not something that has to affect your body standards. So try to differentiate those things, because I've done that and I don't struggle with it at all. Like, if I follow people who are fit on Instagram, it's not something that I'm using as a weapon against myself at all. Sometimes it's just for motivation or, something like that. It could be for any number of reasons. But it's like, I do have aspirations. I do want to be fit. That's where I'll be trying to head to once I get to average, or once I get out of the mids. I'm going to want to be fit. So it's like, I will follow people who are aspiring to be fit as well. So, or who are fit, or people who are aspiring to be. It's not something you have to use as a weapon. I hope I'm being clear. So I don't know. Okay, therapist over here. I wish I had an answer or magic words. It's a hard thing to be this amazing, complex being and to exist in a body that doesn't seem to reflect this. It's a real thing that we might get labeled or judged by our appearance, not fitting in a box of pretty. And I think it's also real that life is happening while we're worrying about those who aren't seeking to know us for who we are truly. This is a really good, I like this so far. This is a very good thing. Of course, it's more of a general statement than necessarily E followed by the letter D, but I like that statement a lot. I've been on my own version of this journey. I healed a lot when I focused on neutrality. I agree with this too. My body has always been able to do amazing things, even when I didn't like how I felt in my clothes or looking at my body. This is a good comment. This, I think, is actually really helpful. A+. So I like that. I think that's helpful. that actually made me even feel a bit better. And that wasn't even what it was, which they were intending to do. That's a very good comment. I love that. Okay. I recently heard someone say that when you're looking at clothes or shopping online, think to yourself, do I like the clothes or the body? And it's actually helped me shop for things I actually like and look for inspo that actually works for me. Okay, interesting. That's interesting. I might use that. I've also realized that a lot of the time I've just been looking at skinny models and thinking they look good. I now look for mid-size fashion inspo on social media, and some of these girls look so cool and amazing. It's been a nice confidence boost. That being said, I do still struggle. I also have to wear sneakers at the moment because of an injury, and I've never been a sneakers person, so it's been tough to feel like myself. But I just try to pick something that I like, that I do like for that day. Good luck, rooting for you. Yeah, it's a pretty neutral comment. So, and still there isn't a lot. Oh, this is very fresh. Well, that one was fresh anyway. Yeah, so I think this is good advice. Kind of just looking at the clothes and stuff like that and just the aesthetic of it. Like, I know for me, I'm really trying to focus more on just aesthetic in general. I think something I didn't really say that I appreciate about the mids that I should have said yesterday more, or like really honed in, is there's no fear in the mids as far as like the health and like all that stuff. So I have the luxury to think about aesthetics. I have the luxury to think about like, oh, what do I want to dress as for my style, or like these types of things. And that's something that I'm still getting used to, because so much of my journey has been rooted in survival, literally, especially like the first couple phases, which took a long time. And then like even last autumn, I started to look at aesthetics a little bit more, like when I had my Georgie outfit and stuff and my Adidas, and like I started getting into certain brands, like I'm becoming an Adidas fan randomly. I think because like when I thrifted Adidas, I felt like so fake bougie with it, and it was just like everything to me. I just loved it. And I'm going to keep looking at the thrift store for that now. But I'm just saying, like, I like that. And then I did like that sweater I got and stuff like that. So it's like, I've started to, and I think I'm going to continue to go further into that as time goes on. But I'm still getting used to having the luxury to care about these things. Like, I've been thinking about like a hairstyle, or I've been thinking about how I need to change certain things just aesthetically, period. And I didn't have the luxury to do that. So, and I do think that that does come up in the mids. And I do think like there's even more self-expression. Like, I think self-expression comes in the small fat just because you're healthier. But even like in the mids, it's like even more. But I've been focusing on a lot of like emotional self-expression, or like how I communicate with you guys as an audience. Like, I've been so focused on like literal self-expression and how I communicate, and like all these different things. And so I still haven't really had time to be like, oh, let me look at the clothes, or like look at my aesthetic, or look at these things. I think I'm reaching that point where I can just focus on that completely, because I had to focus on like all these other things. Like, how do I project myself differently as somebody who's not fat, period, to try to prepare in the mids for the thin era, you know? It's like, how do I stop that? How do I do this? So it's like, I've been focusing on all that stuff and doing a lot of that work. Now I can look at the clothes. So I think that aspect I do appreciate. And like I said, I really, really appreciated Elizabeth's comment yesterday. It actually really made me feel better. I might even share it. 1 second. Okay, so I don't know if YouTube will appreciate this, but I'll try to censor some of the words. But if not, then whatever. This video, I think, is just, it's okay. I think it's just important to talk about. So Elizabeth said, when I was in my heaviest in recovery, she was on the other end of the spectrum, and BMI overweight. I practiced being slutty/cute as much as possible. I was so swollen, had lost half my hair, but I let myself focus too much on the negative. But if I let myself focus too much on the negative, I don't know if I would have fully recovered. It was def my mid phase, and to be honest, this is when FA was most helpful to challenge the weight bias, which I got sucked far too far, but alas, lol. It might help to remember that if you start lifting heavy now, you'll be stronger than someone starting now who is thinner in less time. Put effort into looking cute and doing fun things while you look cute despite thoughts about the midness. I think, too, reminding yourself that you could be dead is good fuel for doing fun things as a, quote, mid-slut. You mentioned this at the end, but I was already typing, so I hope this is confirmation. I know the challenges are a bit different from the other end of the spectrum, but this phase was weird for me too, but it did pass after a year or so, and I even started dating my now husband during this time. And then she said, bye. I mean more in mindset and looks, tits out, ass out, etc. than behavior. I loved this comment so much, and I'm definitely going to do that. And like I said, it almost can bring me to tears. I'm not going to cry because I'm stone cold. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not stone cold. That's so not true. I am not cold at all. I used to say it all the time in 2023, I am midnight rain in late July. I am a hot summer storm in winter, not in winter, oh my God, in late July, in Lana season, mid-July. That's me. So I'm not stone cold. I'm, that. But I loved this comment so much, and I love it, and it really helped. It really did. It made me feel better, and I was like, that's true. I should do this. This is good advice. Because I need to continue to loosen up a bit more, and I have been lately, and I just really appreciated it. You could see I almost was brought to tears reading it, so I had to share it with you guys too. And with that, I'm gonna go. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good rest of your day, night, etc. See you soon. Bye.